If you want to get like some nice soft effects, some nice soft details, you could press the cap about halfway down and that'll let the paint spray out even slower so you can get finer details. From now on, I think I'm gonna start utilizing this because I'm getting some very thin lines. Now let's jump to the main portion of this video, which is going to be a tip review. All right, let's start off with the standard. I'm gonna write standard right here with the pressure all the way up. Do some fresh tags. Let's see how this comes out. So this is the standard cap. So you can get really thin as you see, and I have the drip effects on. I always have the drip effect on, that way it forces me to paint better. So if anyone out there is like, oh, he doesn't have the drips on or something, like, no, I always have the drips on. And as we back away, start to get some bigger sprays. And it's still keeping that hard edge around it. Okay, so as we back away, the edge starts to get softer. Oh, actually no. Wow, this is getting unrealistic at this point. I mean, to go from almost like a period to that is unrealistic. Wow, okay. So at this size, we're still getting the perfect hard edge around it. Let's see if I back up this far. Okay, so here we're not getting anything, it's not reaching the wall. See if I move closer. And you can see the game, how it starts to build up the paint, and it's just slowly building up the layers of paint, taking time to get to like full opacity. Yeah, you can go from super huge, like incredibly huge, to super tiny, to about the size of like a pencil tip. The game is actually pressure sensitive. If you want to get like some nice soft effects, some nice soft details, you could press the cap about halfway down, a quarter of the way down, halfway down, 3/4 of the way down, and that'll let the paint spray out even slower so you can get finer details. So you see how I'm getting like this a softer spray? So that could actually help with blending too. That's a good feature that the game developers added, is the pressure sensitivity. Because again, I have this on full blast. As you guys saw what I did with the dots, this is on full opacity, full pressure, the standard cap, and I'm pressing down lightly and I'm getting these lighter sprays. Now let's move on to the next cap, which will be the New York Fat, one of my favorites. Let me right up here, New York Fat. Oh my gosh, and right away you could tell a huge difference from the New York Fat and the standard. Basically the New York Fat gives you that nice, what in real life we call it softball, that like circle effect, that flare effect, and it's a lot more opaque, a lot more harder, but that flare effect is way stronger with this New York Fat, which is why in real life I really love this tip. What I mean by flares is that when it goes from thick to thin, so like with this Y, how I go from thick to thin like this. I'm gonna try to go how I did with the standard, from very small to very big with these dots. Again, it's a video game, so again, I can pretty much get almost like the same results. It sprays out a lot faster, a lot harder. It's a lot more of an aggressive cap, and in real life, that's true as well. But in real life, the New York Fat, it wouldn't get this big. Even at this level right here, it wouldn't get that big. In real life, it stays probably around that size. Oh wow, and the cap's actually stopping around there. That's crazy. The standard cap actually gets a lot bigger than the New York Fat. I thought this was gonna be a lot bigger than the standard cap. But even at this distance, it's not getting that size or even that solidness that the standard cap was getting me. Let me see if I could do what I did over there. I bet I could get a soft spray. And I'm pressing down about 1/4 of the way. Oh man, and that's solid right away. Let me see if I can get a softer spray. No, not still giving me. Okay, the New York Fat is not reacting the way the standard cap did. I'm like very lightly pressing down on the trigger and it's giving me solid sprays. The New York Fat, it seems like no matter how hard or how lightly you press the trigger, yeah, you're getting a solid spray. Let's say you're in the game, you're doing a piece, and for some reason you forget that you could adjust the pressure. Now, if we bring down the pressure, let's do it right around there, like 3/4. Oh wow, still solid. About halfway. Wow, still solid. I'm like lightly pressing it down. It seems like no matter how you adjust the pressure, you're getting a solid line. The video game does a good job at capturing the essence of it, like what it's supposed to do as far as being an aggressive cap that gives you, crazy flares. It does that well. It seems like the New York Fat in this game only gives you solid lines. Even with the pressure all the way down, it gives you this aggressive spray. So that's a little review of the New York Fat. So now let's hop on to the next one, which is the pink dot. This should be crazy because in real life, these are like fat caps, like crazy flares, great for filling in big areas of space when you're bombing like super quick. So I'm assuming this pink dot is gonna spray out huge. It should spray out bigger than the standard cap. I'm assuming in this game, I can get the pink dot to spray really small, which in real life, it's probably possible, honestly, but probably not to the extent of this video game. All right, so this part will be easy for the pink dot. Yeah, and this is a lot easier, faster to get fat sprays, easier than the New York Fat, easier than the standard cap. So we're just gonna gradually get bigger. It's actually struggling at this point. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So, but I think we can still push the limits, get even bigger. So overall, it seems like in this game, the standard gives you the most range. So far, our winner, I guess as far as like range goes, seems to be the standard cap, which makes sense because I think the game developers made that just for this game. So it's like the most range, the most flexibility. Pink dot has a little bit more of a solid circle shape, whereas the New York Fat, towards the edges, it starts to fade out more. And the pink dot has a little bit more of a solid edge, but even starts to get a little fuzzy. So let's see if I can get some soft sprays. Let's adjust the pressure and see what the pink dot could really do. I'm gonna press down lightly and see if I get some soft sprays out of the pink dot. Slowly pressing down. Oh, that did not work. I'm like slowly pressing down, but the game doesn't even react until it's a solid line. Yeah, it seems like even if I'm lightly pressing down, I'm getting a solid spray. I'm spraying down now at full pressure, and I can feel the vibration in the handset. Now we're getting drips, and no matter how light you press, you're getting this very solid, abrupt spray. If you look at these lines, you couldn't even tell these were at different pressures. I feel like if you're bringing down the pressure, the paint should reflect that and the spray should be softer. So now let me go down to let me go all the way down. So this is all the way down. Am I gonna get a soft spray? Wow, nope. So this is pressure all the way down, and the paint wouldn't even show up or start spraying until the trigger was pressed all the way down. Between these lines, this is at, full pressure. This is at 3/4 pressure. That's ugly for halfway pressure, and this is the lowest pressure, so low pressure, and they all look the same, which it's a video game, so I don't have high expectations. So if I could go that big to that small, I should be able to do like insane flares. So let me see if I could go like really big. Get it. I'm waiting for the paint to build up. Wow, that's a crazy flare. Oh man, I like that. That was sexy right there. Wow, yep, and that's with the pink dot. So I got a nice WG tag. I like that the game is harder around the edges and this middle part got kind of hollowed out. That's actually really realistic to like a real spray can. So I love that. I love how the game actually mimicked that. Now on to the next tip. So now let's do the thin cap. So now this is going to be, I was so used to all these fat caps and that was nowhere near as fat as I thought it was gonna be, which is good because it's a thin cap. It's supposed to be thin. Oh, dang. I've never really had to do it. I've never really tagged with thin caps. It's not as fun as a fat cap. All right, so let's do our dot test. Let's see how thin we could get to as thick as we could get with the thin cap. Okay, all right, getting some good size. And it has some good distance, some good reach. I have to back up pretty far from the wall. So this next dot might be its final limit. It seems like that's it right there. So that seems like about the widest you could go, the fattest you could go with a thin cap. Oh, actually, yeah, that's probably like around the more like medium range of every other cap, which makes sense because it's a thin cap. So pretty good job at simulating this. I don't know if in real life that'll happen. In real life, it'll probably go around that big for the thin cap. And even then, a thin cap, that's a very generic name. There's German thins, universal thins, sharpshooters, skinny pros. So just having it being named a thin cap, it's obviously just a generic name for the game. Let's see if I can get some soft sprays. And it looks like we're just gonna be hardline the entire time. I'm pressing down very lightly. I'm gonna press down really hard now. And that just makes it drip. I don't think it's gonna give me a soft spray. And what I mean by that is I'm referring back to this right here. The standard cap for me so far seems to be the best because you can get really tiny. You can get, this seems like this is the biggest of the entire game, and it lets you get these soft sprays, which in real life you're able to do as well. So I like the game to have that. So I'm trying to get these soft, like low opacity sprays from these other tips, and it seems like even if I adjust the pressure, it doesn't seem like it's letting me get that. And I'm pressing on very lightly, and it just went straight to a very solid, opaque line. See if I move back, it gets a little bit bigger. Now if I move in, we're gonna get these really tiny lines. Let's see how thin I could go to how thick I could go. So I'm gonna go really thin. I'm gonna try and get like some super crazy thin lines. Yeah, look at how super thin that is. Pressing all the way down. I'm trying to get even thinner, almost like nothing. And this is probably one benefit to the game. In real life, if you wanted to get a line that thin, you would have to either cut back, use a stencil cap, or just get really lucky, because getting a line that thin, how I did it in that spray, is very unlikely. So maybe that's one benefit to this being a video game, is that there's like unrealistic things you could do, like getting a pencil thin line all in one shot. And now we're gonna start moving back in. Oh my gosh, so many "that's what she said" jokes are popping into my head during this whole video. And now getting back thin again. From now on, I think I'm gonna start utilizing this because I'm getting some very thin lines. It's a thin cap, so it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it gets like pencil thin. Now let's jump to the next one, which is the feather duster. Wow, it seems like we're already starting to get to the limit right about here, around this size. And the edges are very fuzzy, very soft. Oh, okay, so it's actually, it has some pretty far reach as far as how far away you could be from the wall and have it still show up on the wall. In my opinion, the standard shows the biggest range, you know, going from really small to really big. And it also has the added benefit, the added feature of getting soft lines. None of these other caps so far are giving us that soft line that I could get with the standard by the pressure sensitivity of the trigger. All these other caps, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like the New York Fat, the Pink Dot, you couldn't even tell those caps apart. The thin cap, you could obviously tell apart because it allows you to get those skinny, those super skinny lines. So, all right, yeah, so now we're getting a good feel, a good knowledge base of what each cap could do.